This is the Choyong Voyager. It is a portable Bluetooth speaker, but it's also an internet speaker as well. And if I'm being really honest, straight out of the box, I wasn't impressed at all. I guess I was so focused on, looking for high fidelity sound. There are some speakers that exist in this price range that have absolutely terrific sound, but they lack other features. So that's what I was looking for. But anyway, I will get into that really soon. Thank you to the folk at Choyong for making this review possible by sending me this demo unit. All thoughts and opinions are my own as always. So let's jump into how this is built and its unboxing. The unboxing for this speaker is pretty straightforward. You do get a smartly made box. It does look like it's made out of some sort of recycled material, which is nice to see. And then of course, when you pop it open, you will get the real speaker inside the box. You do get a charging cable as well as a lanyard. This is a very vibrant looking orange and white lanyard, which is nice. It does complement the rest of the colors of the speaker, and of course you do get the literature as well. Moving on to the speaker, it does come in a nice color, and as you can see, it does have this grill cutout for where the speaker is, but on the right side is a screen, and it's not just any screen, it is a touch screen that will let you interact with it. All your different settings and everything can be accessed from here. You can save different favorites, listen to different podcasts, and so on, which is quite cool. Below it, you will see the home button, the previous, next, and cancel button. And this little opening here is for the microphone. Moving on to the top, you do have a power button. This is to put it into standby or put it off and put it on. And when the screen is on, it does have a slight glow, which you'll see in low light. It has volume down and up buttons and the play pause button as well. And the play pause button also works as the microphone button when you press and hold it. Now it can latch up to some sort of AI platform that will listen to your voice and be able to pick up certain music or certain radio stations that you want to listen to, which is quite neat. And moving on to the side, well, this is where you can fit your lanyard. It does have a headphone or earphone out, which I have been using as an output to connect to a speaker. I will get into that in a second. And of course, it does have your Type-C charging port as well. And then when you move on to the blower section of it, it does have these little grip feet, but over here you get a little SIM card slot. So if you do want to get a separate SIM card with data and you want to stream your music while you're on the go through radio stations or whatever it is, online radio, you can just slot it in there and forget about it. So it's worthwhile picking up a plan for an entire year if you want, for that matter, and just toss it into this and it can work throughout the year. And then when you move on to the back, you will see these little points at the back. Now this is for accessibility if you want to open it up, which I wouldn't recommend unless and until it is out of its warranty, of course. You will see the brand name here, and this little grill section here apparently is just for visual reasons. It's just an aesthetic thing. It is not a bass reflex port, which I thought it was to begin with. Now moving on to the screen, it does show your time by default, but if you pull it down, you can switch on your Bluetooth mode. So if you don't want to do that, you can connect your phone to it, so it becomes a portable Bluetooth speaker. But of course, if you don't want to do that, you don't have to. And then within your settings, of course, you also do have a whole bunch of different things: data SIM and Wi-Fi, backlight time, all this sort of stuff, which is quite cool. You do get all sorts of access to this kind of stuff. And then of course, when you move on to the rest, if you just swipe to one direction, you can search for different things. If you select the region you're in, I find this tends to make the radio, or should I say the microphone voice input, to be a little more sensitive to the region you live in based on the way you speak. So if you select that, you might find the mic to be a little more responsive depending on where you reside. And then of course, when you go into this, you can choose to select or favorite certain albums or should I say radio stations, which is also quite neat. Now feature wise, this is obviously quite loaded. You can put a little SIM card into this with a data pack, so you can of course stream music wherever you are, as long as there is signal, of course. And then of course it does have a touchscreen, which is great. Bluetooth version 5.3 if you want to connect to it via Bluetooth. I don't think the sound is too great, but I'll get into that in the chapter about sound. But what's cool about this, I have been running this for quite a few days now, and what's been surprising me is that I have played it by itself, not plugging into anything, full charge on the battery. And one thing that happens is it does go on for about, I'd say, 5+ hours. I've been getting about 5.5, 6 hours from this pretty easy before it hits a lower battery mark. And it starts saying that the battery is low at 15 and 20% volume, 15 and 20% of the battery life. Now, that is also because I don't listen to this very loud. I'm listening to this at maybe 40 to 50% volume, and it's basically playing softly in the corner of a room, so I can still have conversations with my wife and child. So if you start playing this way louder, it's definitely going to eat into that much more battery. Now, considering it lasts about 5 or 6 hours is pretty sensational because it does have a touchscreen. It's got Wi-Fi that's pulling in data. It's got an amp chip in it that's boosting the speaker. I think the amp chip pushes out about 13 watts of power, but the speaker is about a 5-watt speaker. So it's not going to get exactly too loud. With fidelity, you can crank it up, but again, I'll get to that in the chapter about sound. The other thing that I did notice is I did try to charge this with my own charging cable. Now, I do have a fast charger that I use for my phone. I've taken that same charger, I've taken that same cable and plugged it into this, and it refuses to charge. That just leads me to believe that they've put some level of protection in this so that there isn't any surge that will freak the battery out and maybe just make it go boom. So I do have to move on to another cable, either its own or another cable that I use for other devices that's lower power. When I plug that cable in, it charges up, no issue. So it's nice that they've included something like that. Speaking about the battery, one thing I did want to mention, I did show you guys these little points at the back, the 4 different points. Now this is, of course, you can open it up, at your own sort of risk, because that's if you want to swap out the battery and so on. Now, it's better to get it done by someone from this brand, but I don't think they've got service centers all across the globe. But the good news is, if your battery does go, this is what I did like, it's a long-term design. The battery that they use is the 103450 lithium battery. I'll leave what it looks like up here for you. This specific battery is very easily available online. You can pick it up from wherever or go to an electronic shop and pick it up. Should your battery give up, this does have a 1200 mAh capacity battery. Pop this open, be gentle, be delicate with it, and try and replace it yourself, and you're good to go, because chances are the battery is going to give up before the rest of the hardware will. So I like that they've included that sort of option to be able to have kind of a user replaceable battery. Most brands are not thinking about longevity when it comes to stuff like this, and the fact that it has a user replaceable battery at the price it comes with, I think is pretty good. It kind of justifies what you are buying for, rather than spending a similar price for a product you can never open, or you'll damage when you open it, and chances are you'll damage it and you can never use it again. So this is the way forward. This is what brands should be doing to help consumers like the products that much more. Then moving on to the sound, well, they're not mentioned how large this specific driver is, but I don't think it's a very large one. It might be a 40 mm or a roundabouts that figure with the size that this is. Now, for one, I did think this was going to be a much larger speaker through some of the photos I've seen online. But only when you really look at it in person, you realize that it's not at all very large. It kind of fits in the palm of my hand. You can't expect very big sound from a small speaker like this. Now, the thing is, if you start cranking this volume sort of button, it can get loud. And by loud, I mean with a smaller driver pushing out more power, expect higher frequencies and mid frequencies to start pushing out more aggressively, with lower frequencies disappearing. It's just physics. It's not going to be full and rounded enough to enjoy. If, however, you listen to this below 50%, like what I've been doing, maybe 40%, 30%, and place it in a corner, whatever little bit of resonance that this body has, whatever sound waves are moving within that corner, it tends to sound a little more rounded, there's a little more depth in it. But the minute you start cranking it up, it gets a lot more squawky. So I wouldn't recommend listening to this too loud. Again, if you're using this, while you're hiking or on a cycle, and it's use the lanyard to strap it to your bag or something. I think if you listen to it at about 40 or 50% volume, it's fine. It's going to get you by. You're going to be able to hear podcasts very clearly. The speaker is great for voices. I found it to be great for older recordings, like with classical music or certain vocals. New age stuff, if you're looking for fidelity, this is not the driver to go for. So this is where that 3.5 mm output comes to play. I've really benefited from this because I've connected it to one of my older Bluetooth speakers that has an auxiliary input, and I've placed that in the corner of my room. So the internet radio has been great fun through this speaker, but playing audio through a different driver. I think that's what makes this a lot more fun if you're at home. For portability, this is great, but if you want better fidelity, that's what you do. I've also been connecting it to my music system at home through a 3.5 mm, but this is where I did find a bit of an issue, because I'm not too sure if this is a design flaw, but if you look at the 3.5 mm jack over there, it's ever so slightly recessed behind the plastic. So when I plug in the 3.5 mm cable I have for my music system, it doesn't make a very tight seal, so it's not able to make full contact. So there are times where it shifts only over to a left channel, so it's practically mono. So I really have to sort of try and squeeze it in there and put something against it to make it hold so it doesn't slip out. Whereas the cable I use to connect it to my Bluetooth speaker that has auxiliary in is a bit narrower, so it does fit in a bit snug. So I don't know if this is something that they'll sort of touch on or try and rectify with newer models, but it's the one issue that I've had. So to sum up, this is not a speaker you need to look at if you're looking for fidelity. If you want big sound, good detail, big bass, no squawk, nothing shrill, you're looking at the wrong speaker. This is not really focused primarily on sound. I mean, for the size, it's a good performer. It's okay-ish actually, but it's definitely not fidelity. It leans more towards everything else. It wants to give you easy access, via the touchscreen to various radio stations. You can put in a SIM card into this to be able to get data anywhere. I mean, if you want to use your hotspot from your phone, it's got Wi-Fi. You can use the Wi-Fi at home. You've got multiple podcast channels you can subscribe to. No, not subscribe, but have access to internet radio. I think it's got about 40,000 plus, which is a mad amount. So in fact, we guys are in the process of getting ready to start decorating for Christmas. And I said, let me just see if I can, figure out if this will play Christmas music. So when I first went into it, I was searching, and there's a little keyboard on the screen, which is a tiny little screen, difficult to do. And then I remembered it has a mic. So I just, spoke into the mic and I said Christmas music. And within 5 seconds, there's a whole bunch of stations that are available. This is, convenience. So I've really enjoyed it. And there has been music in the house for a long time. For that matter, when I plug this into my Bluetooth speaker and just let it play through that, so the power isn't coming out of this speaker, this thing has played for well over 14 hours because it's not using its own amp and speaker. It's just feeding a signal out to another speaker. So it's just pulling in Wi-Fi, and the screen's on now and then when I want to scroll through it and check battery or change the station. So it can go beyond 14 hours as well, is what I do suspect with this, at least when the battery is new. So if you're somebody who wants music around the house all of the time with a station that you like, and you don't like fiddling with next, previous, making new sort of music playlists on your phone or music players, this is a terrific solution. You can have music through the day in your house, and I think it's a fantastic little speaker for what it is with regard to its features especially. So if you are planning on buying this, there is some good news. There are some sort of deals going on right now for Black Friday. So as of right now, as of recording this video, you can buy this from the Choyong website for about 63.20 USD. That's $63.20. But if you are planning on buying this on Amazon, if you're in India or something, this deal does not apply here. If you do want to, the folk at Choyong have said, just order it off their website and you'll benefit with that discount. If you need to know anything else, feel free to write to them. I think they'll be able to guide you in the proper direction. But anyway, that's my review on the Choyong Voyager, and I do think it's an amazing little speaker. But I do hope that I've helped you understand this product a little bit better. But of course, if you do want to support the channel, I'm sure you know exactly how to. But of course, thank you for tuning in for some sound advice.